Welcome to the Deception dining room story. Standing in our dining room, my wife held up a champagne flute, her face glistening with tears as she declared to 23 people that I was the apple of her eye. I waited until she finished before standing up myself, clinking glasses to announce that I had filed for divorce that very morning. The same setting, the same toast, yet messages radically different. Allow me to provide context. My name is Ethan Caldwell, and for 8 years I thought I possessed a marriage envied by many. Bridget was intelligent, career-driven, and radiated warmth in all the meaningful aspects when we initially crossed paths. We got married at a young age. I was 28, she was 26, believing we were constructing a partnership. I worked as a project manager for a construction company, while she handled estate planning at a small law office. Our home was situated in a suburb half an hour from the city. We hadn't started a family yet, and our plans appeared solid. However, the fissures emerged gradually. Around a year and a half ago, Bridget began traveling more for work. Estate planning conferences were her frequent travel plans, attended in nearby states. Initially, I didn't suspect anything since her career had always been priority. However, the trips increased drastically, often 3 weekends a month. Upon her return, an unfamiliar detachment in her eyes became noticeable. I'm not prone to jealousy. Instead, I chose to provide her with space. I assumed our relationship was going through a common marital phase characterized by stress and routine changes, nothing catastrophic. Then last August, my mother was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer, a shock to our family. 5 years prior, my father had passed away from a heart attack, leaving Holly and me as my mother's main caregivers. Bridget was present but distant during this period. She would occasionally accompany me to the hospital, yet she was preoccupied with her phone, frequently texting. When I wanted to discuss my anxiety over my mother's health, Bridget seemed more concerned about her own work pressures. I thought she struggled with emotional depth. Many do, but it grated on me. One evening in late September, after my mother had endured a harsh chemotherapy session and I'd spent 6 hours by her side while she slept, I returned home drained. Upon entering our room, I found Bridget engaged in a video call, laughing, a sound I hadn't heard for months. As she noticed me, she hurriedly ended the call, saying, "I'll call you back," and hung up. "Who was that?" I asked. "Just a colleague," she replied. "We're dealing with a complex estate case at 9:3 at night," she smiled, but her eyes didn't reflect it. "We're under a deadline." I let it go. 2 weeks later, my sister Holly phoned me at work. "Ethan, I need to talk to you about something and I don't know how to begin." My stomach sank. "Is it Mom?" she replied. "No, Mom's stable." Stepping out into the parking lot, it was regarding Bridget. What concerning her? Holly hesitated. "I spotted her last weekend, around Saturday afternoon downtown near the new Belmont Hotel. I observed her exiting the lobby accompanied by a man. They were intertwining fingers. The world seemed to sway slightly." "Is that definitely her?" "Ethan, I recognize my sister-in-law. She was wearing her signature blue coat and the fellow middle-aged, perhaps early 40s, dark hair, high-end attire." They entered his car together. A chill settled within me, not fear or fury, but a tranquil acceptance that the ground beneath my feet wasn't stable. "Did she notice you?" I inquired. "No, I was on the opposite side of the street." "All right, don't disclose anything to anyone. I need some time to ponder." That night, I didn't address Bridget. Instead, I started observing carefully. I found that her business trips always coincided with weekends when I'd be at the hospital with my mom. I also observed a change in her attire, more thoughtfulness put into it. See garments? I observed that when her phone vibrated with messages, she would adjust the screen out of my sight. I didn't want to suspect the worst. Some part of me clung to the idea that Holly might have misunderstood. There could be an innocent explanation. However, another part of me, the part that had served as a project manager for a decade, honed to identify discrepancies and potential hazards, knew differently. I required evidence. I didn't resort to hiring a private investigator. It wasn't necessary. Bridget was sloppy in a way that hinted she thought I was too preoccupied with my mother's illness to discern. So I took a straightforward action. I scrutinized our credit card bills. There they were. Hotel expenditures at the Belmont, numerous weekends over the past 4 months, always when she claimed to be attending a conference or client meeting. The charges appeared on our shared account. She hadn't even made an effort to conceal them effectively. I examined each statement dating back a year. The pattern was obvious: hotel expenses, costly dinners. I found myself purchasing jewelry from an unfamiliar boutique, and as I sat in my home office, I fixated on the spreadsheet I'd meticulously created. A chill ran through me as something solidified inside. This wasn't merely an affair. It was a calculated deception. She had been dishonest with me while my mother was dying, using my mourning as a mask for her secret life. At that moment, I decided not to confront her immediately. Instead, I would wait, gather all the evidence I needed, and then take action. Over the next 3 months, I morphed into a different kind of husband on the surface. The morning goodbyes, inquiries about her day, and portrayal of the devoted partner continued, but beneath it all, I was meticulous. I kept track of every trip she took, late-night work calls, and any mysterious expenses. I established a separate bank account, transferring half of our savings into it, funds that were mine before marriage, combined with my subsequent earnings. I sought advice from divorce attorney Leonard Strauss, a seasoned gentleman in his late 50s who had dealt with more complex cases than mine, advised me during our second meeting that my approach was correct. He suggested I shouldn't reveal my hand until I was prepared, and when the time came, make it significant. I requested a file before the holiday season, to which Leonard reacted with surprise. "That's assertive," he said, as I mentioned that she was organizing a grand Christmas dinner at our home. "It's a large family event that she has been discussing for weeks, aiming to display our seemingly perfect marriage." Leaning back in his chair, Leonard questioned if I wanted the file before the dinner. "No," I replied, "I want it the morning of the dinner, and I intend to reveal it during the dinner itself." After a prolonged moment of study, he slowly nodded. "That's ruthless, Ethan. But if she's been deceiving me while my mother was ill, I understand." In mid-November, I discovered the identity of the other man. I found out by browsing through Bridget's laptop, which she had left open on the kitchen counter. An email exchange with someone named Owen Finch caught my eye. The tone was undeniable, not businesslike, but personal. Mentions of last weekend and eager anticipation to meet again. A chilling line sent shivers down my spine. I informed him I was attending a conference. Engrossed in his mother's cancer crisis, he seems oblivious to anything else now. Upon researching, Owen Finch is 41, senior partner at a wealth management company, divorced with no children. According to LinkedIn, he and Bridget connected 18 months ago at a professional gathering, the entire duration of my mother's illness. By December early, my mother's health improved, the chemo more effective than anticipated, and her doctors were tentatively hopeful. It was the first positive news we'd received in months. Holly and I took Mom out for dinner to celebrate, and for the first time in a while, I felt like I could finally breathe. Bridget scheduled the Christmas dinner, expressing her desire for a unique celebration that year. One evening, she stated, "Invite your family, my family, some close friends. Let's have a genuine celebration of what we've built together." Across the kitchen table, I gazed at her, and I noticed her eyes sparkle in a manner they hadn't for months. It struck me then that she was unaware, under the impression that I remained oblivious to her secret life, preoccupied by my mother's illness. She thought I didn't notice. "That sounds wonderful," I replied, smiling. "We decided on December 23rd as the date. People would have time to settle in before Christmas Day itself." "Perfect." On the morning of December 23rd, I drove to Leonard's office and signed the final divorce papers, which he had already submitted to the court. Bridget would be served after the holidays, but the legal process had begun. When Leonard asked if I was certain about the timing, I affirmed. "You recognize that she will respond negatively in a public setting." "Fine," I had said that afternoon. A total of 23 individuals, including my mother who appeared frail yet resolute, my sister Holly and her spouse, Bridget's parents and her younger brother, some longtime friends, assembled at our home. All were adorned in holiday sweaters and armed with wine bottles, eager to commemorate. Bridget had gone above and beyond. She had arranged for food catering, expensive champagne, and a grand Christmas tree decorated with white lights and golden ornaments in the living room. With an air of grace from a magazine, she mingled through the crowd, laughing, embracing, and ensuring everyone felt at ease. I observed her but felt nothing. At 7:30, Bridget raised her glass to call for attention. The room grew quiet. Positioned near the fireplace, her cheeks flushed from champagne and excitement, she began speaking. "Simply put, thank you all for attending," she began. "This year has been challenging. Ethan's mother is valiantly battling, prompting me to reflect on the significance of family and the importance of cherishing those you care for." Looking straight at me, her eyes shimmered with emotion. "I have never known a more patient, kind, loving man than Ethan. He has been my pillar throughout all hardships, including stress, long work trips, and challenging days, unwavering in his support. I want to express publicly in front of all of you how grateful I am to be his wife. To be constructing this life with him." She lifted her glass, to Ethan, to us, to 8 years of marriage and many more to come. Everyone followed suit, repeating the sentiment, to Ethan and Bridget. I too raised my glass, then stood up. The room fell silent, anticipating a reciprocal toast. Bridget smiled at me, expectant. "Thank you, Bridget," I replied. Your words were heartfelt, truly, and I am grateful for everyone being present tonight. From my jacket pocket, I withdrew a folded note. I'd like to disclose some personal news to everyone. This morning, I initiated divorce proceedings. A hush fell over the room, seeming tangible. Bridget's smile faltered. I filed, I explained, maintaining a composed tone, as I've discovered that for the past 18 months, Bridget has been involved in an affair with Owen Finch, a senior partner at a wealth management firm. They've spent weekends together at the Belmont Hotel, billed to our joint credit card when I was caring for my mother in the hospital. Bridget paled visibly. I have the credit card bills as evidence, I stated, brandishing the documents. I have the emails, a timeline, and the name of the hotel manager who verified that Mrs. Bridget Caldwell checked in with Mr. Owen Finch on at least 6 different occasions. Deanne, her mother, rose to her feet. This is preposterous. Ethan, what exactly? I'm telling the truth, I retorted, addressing Diane. Tonight, it appeared the right moment to discontinue the deception, as your daughter has been deceiving me, you and everyone in this room. Bridget's hands trembled. You invaded my privacy by examining my emails and watching over me, I declared. That's not spying, that's financial prudence, and upon seeing the hotel expenses, I decided to investigate further before ruining whatever remnants of our marriage remained. Holly stood up. I caught you, Bridget, in October downtown with him holding hands. Bridget glanced at Holly, then back at me. You revealed it to him. She confided in him because she cares about me, I retorted, and she was concerned for my well-being, which is more than I can say for you. My mother, sitting silently near the window, interjected for the first time. Her voice was gentle yet audible. How could you betray him when I was ill? Bridget's expression crumbled. Mother, I didn't, my mother responded. Don't dare apologize to me. Bridget looked at me with tears streaming down her face. You should apologize to Ethan, she said, but I don't think you can. Turning back to me, she pleaded, Ethan, could we talk about this privately? I refused, replying, you made a public toast about our perfect marriage. I'm responding publicly too. Her brother nearby looked at her with obvious disdain. Bridget, is what you said true? She remained silent. I placed the documents on the table, divorce papers filed. Assets moved to a separate account, lawyer retained. After tonight, I would be staying with my mother until our house matters were sorted out. I invited her to stay but asked for some space tomorrow to pack my belongings. I'm sorry this spoiled the evening, I said, but I'm not sorry I told the truth. I left my glass of champagne untouched and exited my own house, leaving behind a quick and unpleasant aftermath. That evening, Bridget's parents couldn't reach me as I didn't respond to their call. Holly informed me that Bridget was locked inside our bedroom and unwilling to emerge. The guests departed within mere minutes after my departure, leaving behind untouched catered food and a Christmas tree adorned with glowing lights in an empty room. Leonard phoned me the following morning. You certainly left a mark, he said. Indeed, she deserved it. However, now she's ready to fight dirty. Are you ready for that? I am, as I have the proof. She can fight all she wants, and she did attempt. Bridget hired an aggressive lawyer who attempted to assert that I had invaded her privacy by accessing her emails. But Leonard quickly countered this claim, as we had used a shared laptop, and the emails were linked to our joint financial planning account, rendering no legal privacy infringement. Additionally, she tried to argue that the affair was a momentary lapse in judgment due to my mother's illness, but to no avail. In court, her lawyer depicted her as a woman overwhelmed by the emotional strain of consoling a grieving spouse. However, during mediation, Leonard contradicted this portrayal. He presented evidence such as 6 hotel stays, numerous emails over months, a jewelry purchase, and a bracelet she never wore around me but was visible in Owen Finch's private Instagram photo. By mid-January, Bridget abandoned the dispute. We reached an out-of-court settlement. I retained the house while she kept her car and some savings. We divided the furniture and parted ways from each other's lives. My mother fully recuperated by March, for which we held a small family celebration. No drama or speeches were involved. That night she hugged me and said, I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Your father would have been proud too. I've neither confirmed nor pursued updates on Bridget and Owen. That phase of my life has ended. At times, people question if I harbor regret about my approach, the public revelation, the strategic timing, and the detachment involved. I don't. Bridget had 8 years. To put it bluntly, she opted for deceit. She chose to be unfaithful during the most challenging phase of my life. When she delivered that toast in front of our loved ones, she was asking me to collaborate in one last deception. I declined. Some individuals believe revenge is about fury, but for me, it wasn't. It was about clarity, about resisting allowing someone to rewrite history while I stood there with a smile. She sought to celebrate a flawless marriage. I provided the truth instead. The same toast, the same table, just a drastically different conclusion than she anticipated.